Good evening and welcome to the 10th Avenue Extension, Great Estate, Nungwa Adobono. This is MBN TV with the mega news at 6. First, we take a look at the headlines. Education Minister appeals to Gaya to call off ongoing strike. In business, Ghana's banks cashed in as profits hit 23 billion Ghana cedis. On the foreign front, Zambia's Hichilema, re-elected president as main rival, goes into hiding. My name is El Samuels. The news is also live across our social media handles on MBN 360. Details of the stories coming up right after this break. Now the details of the story. The Minister of Education has appealed to the Ghana Association of University Administrators to call off its ongoing strike and return to the negotiation table to resolve the outstanding concerns. The appeals comes as industrial action by members of the Ghana Association of University Administrators continue to disrupt administrative activities across public universities. The Education Minister says the government remains committed to engaging the association to address its concerns and find a lasting solution to the impasse. The strike has raised concerns about its potential impact on the smooth administration of universities, particularly institutions prepared for key academic and administrative activities. The minister is therefore urging the leadership of Gaya to reconsider its position and resume work whilst negotiations continue. Government says it remains open to dialogue and believes the outstanding issues can be resolved through constructive engagement. The latest development comes amidst growing calls for swift resolution to prevent the industrial action from further affecting university operations.
The Deputy Minister for Finance just spoke to me. He said even when you wrote GTEC wrote to you, and one of you in your writing, you copied him. They've asked for validated audit of the numbers to pay. Give me 1 month from today. Today is like 16th. So 1 month from today, but I need the data.
Moving on, the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa has called for a new world order that promotes fairness and justice as Russia expressed support for Ghana's efforts to advance the restitution agenda for Africa. Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa says the time has come for a fundamental shift in global relations, particularly in how Africa's historical injustice and stolen cultural heritage are addressed. He made a call as Russia backed Ghana's initiative to convene a restitution summit aimed at advancing discussions on the return of African cultural artifacts and addressing the legacy of historical exploitation. Mr. Ablakwa urges that Africa must have a stronger voice in shaping the international system and determining how its historical and cultural resources are preserved and returned. The proposed summit is expected to bring together key stakeholders to discuss restitution, historical justice, and stronger international cooperation. Russia's support for the initiative is being seen as an important diplomatic endorsement of Ghana's efforts to place restitution and reparative justice higher on the global agenda. Mr. Ablakwa says the broader objective should be to build a more equitable international order in which African countries have greater influence over decisions affecting their history, resources, and future.
The whole reparatory justice agenda, this is it. It's also about sovereignty. It's about allowing African countries to take control of our resources. We don't want to be exporting raw materials any longer, and President Mahama has been clear about that, and I raised that at a meeting. I want to commend Russia for declaring their support for a new economic paradigm where we will no longer be at the mercy of exploitation. We want to add value to our own resources, industrialize, build factories, and then you can partner with us in a win-win arrangement. But this business where we don't determine the prices of natural resources we own, we don't determine the prices of our cocoa, of our gold, which Ghana is the #1 producer of in the world. We don't determine the prices of our bauxite, of our oil and gas, and all of that. We cannot continue with that rigged global order. So reparatory justice encapsulates all of these germane matters, which are really essential towards the final liberation. You see, Kwame Nkrumah talked about the political liberation which we won in 1957 when we were the first African country to win independence. But he reminded us that that is not the end of the journey. We need economic emancipation, economic liberation. And that is the next frontier. And that is what President Mahama is leading. That now we must win the battle for economic liberation. And that is what this whole reparatory justice agenda is about.
Away from the Foreign Affairs Ministry, the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, has called on the minority statement in calling for the Gold Board to be able to initiate that action. He has warned that the current leadership of the Ghana Gold Board could face what he described as scary future if the standards being applied to some former government officials continues.
The minority leader issued a warning at a press conference in Parliament, drawing a comparison between the bail conditions imposed on some persons and the investigation and what officials of the current administration could face if the NPP returns to power. Afenyo-Markin suggested the precedents being set by the government could have consequences for current public officials, particularly Gold Board executives, whom he claims may be required to answer questions over an alleged financial losses involving the institution. He has repeatedly raised concerns about what the minority described as a 22 billion Ghana cedis loss at Gold Board, insisting the institution must account for the funds. Afenyo-Markin says the minority position is not about personal attack but about ensuring accountability and protecting the public resources. He has cautioned current government officials to consider the standard being established today, warning that political power can change hands and the same standard could eventually be applied to them.
Sir, obi akoye adwuma mpo baby na sende iyokofo tata no iyokofo tata binum Attorney General ye press conference osio obi mpo oye ayaban adwuma eka 5 million cedis 3 million cedis 10 million cedis yetum frɛ wo iyoko na wakoda ho na yɛse fa ejapade a asumbo for branch ya mobile na ne go ball for bed ya be hu Tio me bao we there sa 22 billion losses here almost Gold Board abokai and then who bill ezika ben na ye de bedi bill oh we as said yet here yes wo we of onsa na wa hwe onsa we as here wo no se tumi ba wonsem na se wo de tata obi a hweniye NDC for nam MPP for Bokrono, MPP for Bokrono, MPP 40 say, MPP 40 say. Gold kaka munkotono, gold, munkoton gold. Munko banka 22 billion cedis. Afibako. Ya kan ya no mu visa mu didi atemo a. Na ya bohu. Na mu di eti ebubom.
Now moving on, the Madame Adodu has raised concerns over the lack of adequate health infrastructure, identifying it as a major factor contributing to the maternal deaths in Ghana.
Madame Dodu says inadequate health infrastructure continues to undermine efforts to reduce maternal mortality, particularly for women in rural and underserved communities. She argues that the absence of properly equipped health facility, inadequate emergency services, and challenges with transportation can delay access to critical maternal health care. The concerns comes amidst persistent challenges with maternal death in Ghana. The National Development Planning Commission says Ghana's maternal mortality ratio remains unacceptable high at 301 deaths per 100,000 live births, with significant disparities across the regions. Experts and studies have also identified poor access to health care facilities, inadequate transport infrastructure as contributing factors to delay in receiving essential maternal care. Madame Dodu is therefore calling for increased investment in health infrastructure, improved access to quality maternal health care to prevent avoidable deaths. She says addressing maternal mortality requires more than medical intervention, stressing the need for a stronger health system that can provide timely and effective care to every pregnant woman, regardless of where she lives.
From the health sector, we move straight to the Greater Accra, where more than 27 wooden structures and their content have been destroyed in a fire outbreak at the Sprinters Coastal Junction in Accra.
The fire reportedly started about 6:20 Tuesday morning, quickly spreading through the wooden structures at the Sprinters Coastal Junction. The blaze destroyed more than 27 structures and their content before personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service managed to bring it under control. 2 fire appliances from nearby stations were deployed to the scene, while a private water tanker also provided additional support during the firefighting operation. After several hours of effort, firefighters finally extinguished the fire at about 9:22 a.m. A church and an adjoining building were also affected by the fire. The cause of the outbreak has not yet been established. The Ghana National Fire Service is urging the public to observe fire safety precautions and report fire outbreak promptly to help prevent loss of lives and property.
Na kola ba kuno no odade mu ne ma me baby ejari start free enye baby ejari start free certificate na kola ba ko edemu a ne ma le pass tin tempana no areas no for no ya wad na omutumi abowre mu ko ya akala ti ma me ne ba be hu say ne ba no etimpe mu na yi jese kisi na omunya so ja sida kese ma fa say ti se tu ba ya tu aboa ma eja no entimi ante as for young people. Most of the times, you could see now you be at them near you took what the brain more experience a part. Oh, they do. Sana, the modus of branding it. Yes, you know, I base pump on the sign. Now, the cranny, no, your man can soon be Susa, and then idea now to Omono. Now to them no now say we are disappointed, but say na ye na enu ye dwuma no say na tin jo eja bi say no aye ka ba ko na dudu mu enti na labadi for any water tanker na bi efi industry so ba bebo ti metima ka say ewi ani de no mo ma emu say etimi aya de MC ni so around aboy abaso samema so boy abaso say abaye dwuma den de aboa ma eja no obi aho anka enti ye besre so say cylinder na ye use owu structure no so wa kwanche wo ho te se omu ni mo kwanche bebre so a omu ntwem fire service na fire service nche omu kwan a yesu fa yesu extinguishers na kan pepe mu no anka odo ni se cylinders ni dia aka 20 meters away 20 feet away from obi ane dan but ohwe wooden structure odi pan dan no wo mu kwan na 20 feet nti no go say or the cylinder ni sidem and so ni the major hazard spread it fast.
Away from the Sprinters Road led to some education story where the Ghana Education Service has dismissed reports claiming that the free senior high school policy has been cancelled and parents have been directed to pay 1,500 Ghana cedis for chop box, trunks and other items.
The Ghana Education Service says reports circulating on social media are false and must be disregarded. In a statement issued today, Tuesday, August 18, the service clarified that the free SHS policy remains in effect and that the Director General has not directed parents or guidance to make any payment for chop box, trunks, or other items. The GES further explained that Director General does not have the authority to cancel the national free SHS policy. Parents and guidance students have consequently been urged not to make any payment to individuals based on the claim circulating online. The service is advising the public to rely only on official information communicated through the authorized GES channels. The clarification comes as preparation continues for students entering senior high schools, with the GES cautioning against the spread of unverified information that could create unnecessary anxiety and confusion among parents and students. The GES also appealed to media organizations and the public to exercise caution before publishing or sharing claims about the free SHS program.
And that brings us to the end of the major bulletin. Now, coming up, we'll bring you business, sports, and entertainment, and we turn our attention to the international front. Details of the business is brought to you by Na Dede Gogo right after the break.
Let me introduce you to Farm Global Company Limited. At Farm Global, we offer you variety of groceries and provisions to choose from. Cosmetics, perfumes, bed sheets, undies, boxes, you can mention all. This is our perfume stand, and we have variety of perfumes you can choose from for yourself and your loved ones. We cover Latapa, fragrance world, and quality perfumes that will last long on your body. On our cosmetic section, we have variety of lotions, creams, hair pomade that can keep you going. Let your feet do the talking and your hand do the showcasing. Your babies are not left out. We got you covered. At Farm Global, we make shopping a beautiful experience for you and your family. You can be at home, send your list, and get it delivered for free. Yes, for free. We know you can pay for it, but we want to show appreciation. We bring everything to you at your doorstep. Locate Farm Global on the Nungwa-Boade Road, just opposite Redeemer Chemist. Call us on 0592 0999 52 or 050 384-3633. Farm Global, fast, reliable, and convenient.
Welcome back from that break. This is the business news with me, Na Dede Gogo. In business, Ghana's banking sector has recorded a major surge in profitability, with profit before tax rising by 39.8% to 23 billion Ghana cedis in the year 2025, up from 16.5 billion Ghana cedis in the year 2024.
Ghana's banks are reporting significantly stronger financial performance, with the sector's profits before tax increasing by almost 40% in 2025. According to the PwC Ghana Banking Survey 2026, total industry income also rose by 24.1% from 35.5 billion in 2024 to 44.1 billion Ghana cedis in 2025. Investment income was a major driver of the improved performance, increasing by 7.8 billion Ghana cedis or 45.2%. Net trading income also recorded strong growth, rising by 43.5% to add another 2.4 billion Ghana cedis to banks' earnings. The sector further benefited from a sharp reduction in loan impairment losses, which fell by 75.9% from 3.5 billion Ghana cedis to 841 billion Ghana cedis. However, The strong profits come amid questions about whether banks are doing enough to channel their earnings into productive lending and support for businesses and households. Operating expenses also increased by about 26.5% during the year, reaching 20.2 billion Ghana cedis. PwC is cautioned that maintaining the current level of profitability could become more challenging as the banking industry adjusts to a lower interest rate environment.
Still in business, the Ghana cedi year-to-date depreciation has narrowed sharply to 4.9% from 10.4% at the end of July, following a strong run of gains against the US dollar.
The cedi is continuing its recovery against the US dollar, significantly reducing the losses recorded earlier this year. Market data shows the currency's year-to-date depreciation has fallen to 4.09%, following recent gains recorded in the foreign exchange market. The cedi also strengthened on both the weekly and monthly levels, with the positive trend continuing during the week of August 10 to 11. The improved performance has been attributed partly to stronger foreign exchange intermediation and market support by the Bank of Ghana. Inflows from the extractive sector, coupled with offshore investor demand for Ghana's local bonds, have also supported the currency. Market players are pointing to easing demand pressures for foreign exchange as another factor behind the cedi's recent appreciation. Senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amua, expects the positive run to continue, linking the outlook to the Bank of Ghana's current foreign exchange management framework. The latest performance marks a significant turnaround from the pressure the cedi faced during the first half of the year, when strong demand for the US dollar pushed the currency's depreciation higher. The key question now is whether the recent gains can be sustained and translate into lasting relief for businesses and consumers.
That's all for business. Let's go for a break. El Samos brings the rest of the news.
Hata wodi asem luku faso. Baba, me again. Nessa we yale. Me kwa dwuma mu hia me ti. Mentimi ansent my friend doctor after when am kwaso oba. Say na kwaso. See what we so ani. She has malaria. Malaria. Oh, what they say what the router. Me kope bia brensisi. Aduro ne fe no router mix. Ye ka malaria aduro. And running winter. So Gaptrap and the draw ku abaso body ase. Wabo Ruta mixture abaso. Ruta natural products nduane Ruta mixture. Ya e dikutia a treat. Ruta tonic and the Ruta life wa. E huhuru e feel sra de bone e fe nipadua mu. Nasa support immune system no. Ruta de obi ase ye. FDA ade dwede nkra to ya to.
Welcome back from the business segment on the evening bulletin, the Mega News 6 on MBN TV. Now away from business, it's time for us to go into the world of sports, where Ghana's Premier League side Karela United have been handed a FIFA registration ban after failing to settle an outstanding financial obligation owed to former player Sana Kamara.
FIFA has imposed a transfer ban on Karela United, preventing the club from registering new players at both the national and international levels. The sanction follows the club's failure to comply with an earlier FIFA decision ordering it to settle its financial obligation to former player Sana Kamara. FIFA's disciplinary committee says the ban will remain in force until the outstanding amount is fully paid. The sanction can run for a maximum of 3 entire and consecutive registration periods, meaning Kerala United could be restricted from strengthening its squad during 3 transfer windows if the debt remains unpaid. FIFA has also directed the Ghana Football Association to implement the national registration ban against the club. The case referenced by FIFA as FPSD 23160 adds to concerns about financial obligations and player-related disputes within Ghanaian football. Kerala United can have the restrictions lifted by fulfilling its financial obligation under FIFA's decision.
Away from the sports segment, we turn our attention to the entertainment front, where Ghanaian music duo Dope Nation is set to take the energetic Afrofusion sound to Saarbrücken in Germany this weekend as part of an ongoing European tour. Recent posts from the duo confirm their Saarbrücken performance as part of the European engagements.
Ghanaian twin duo Dope Nation is taking their signature energy and vibrant Afro sound to Saarbrücken, Germany this weekend. The performance forms part of the duo's ongoing European tour as they continue to bring Ghanaian contemporary music to audiences across Europe. Known for their energetic stage performances and fusion of Afrobeat, Afropop and Ghana piano influences, Dope Nation has continued to build a strong international following. The duo has also been making waves with their latest music, including their 2026 Ghana piano release, Atasa, which adds to their growing catalogue of dance-oriented Ghanaian sounds. Their European appearances come as Ghanaian music continues to expand its reach globally, with artists increasingly using international tours and festivals to showcase the country's evolving sound. For fans in Saarbrücken, the weekend promises an opportunity to experience Dope Nation's high-energy performance and the distinctive Afro-boom sound that has become central to their musical identity.
Church mother say amen. They can shout hallelujah.
And that's it from the sports and also the entertainment segment. We're going for a break. When we return, we'll bring you the foreign news.
Mfitiasie no mene me kunu eware wo odro ene asumdwe kwan so yawawe na chi no mene kwacho ba hotel papa bi say be sepeyo.
What? A team from so crown on my ye.
Bibia wo nyankopon sem.
Ekoba ne sa me kunu antena se.
Edro botum waje wo eye edek SM bitters.
Wah. Eni gia befi. We na me de yempaibo edek SM bitters timase mama me
So wawore mu enije bewie wo payi a
na ye kamfo edek SM bitters
Mrs. Wa oyem ye onyina monome no okọ one.
Welcome back. You're still live on the Mega News on MBN TV, live from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension, Great Estate. We're live across our social media handles on MBN 360. On the foreign front, precisely with African story, where Zambian President Hakalima has been re-elected for a second term, securing about 60% of the vote, whilst main challenger Brian Modelbi has reportedly gone into hiding over fears of arrest and alleged threats.
Zambia's President Hichilema has secured a second term in office after winning the country's presidential election. Official results released by the Electoral Commission of Zambia shows Hichilema winning 2,965,326 votes against 1,856,217 votes for his main challenger. The election, however, been overshadowed by political tensions and security concerns. The development follows the arrest of several opposition figures in a security raid. Authorities accuse those arrested of plotting and insurrection allegations that opposition has rejected as fabricated. The vote counting process was also temporarily suspended after incidents of violence against election officials and the theft of ballot papers. Despite the tension, the Electoral Commission proceeded with the counting and subsequently declared Hichilema the winner. Hichilema's victory gives him another 5 years to pursue his economic agenda, including efforts to expand copper production and build on Zambia's debt restructuring and economic recovery. But his second term begins against a backdrop of concerns over the cost of living, political freedoms, and the treatment of opposition figures.
Away from the African continent, we venture straight into Europe, where British Prime Minister Andy Burnham has reaffirmed the United Kingdom's full support for Ukraine, despite warning from Moscow that British could face consequences of a report of British-made drones being used in strikes against Russian territory.
UK Prime Minister Andy Burnham says British will continue to stand firmly behind Ukraine despite growing tension with Russia. Burnham says the United Kingdom will support Ukraine 100% in its war against Russia, insisting Britain's position will not change. His comment follows a warning from Moscow that London could face consequences over reports that British-made drones have been used by Ukraine in a long-range strike inside Russian territory. Russian embassy in London accused the British of deliberately escalating the conflict and warned that the deeper the UK's involvement, the greater the price it could pay. British Ministry of Defence has not confirmed whether the reported drones were used in the strike, but says UK stands shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine and remains committed to providing equipment to help Kiev defend itself. Burnham, meanwhile, says British is not a fair weather friend and will remain with Ukraine during what he described as its hour of need. The latest exchange highlights the growing tension between London and Moscow as Ukraine intensified its use of long-range drones against targets inside Russia, whilst Russia continues its attacks on Ukrainian territory.
And from the tensions and the Europe between Russia and Moscow, and as well as Ukraine, we've come to the end of this evening news, coming to you live from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estates. But before we take a look at you, let's take a second look at the stories making headlines.
Education Minister appeals to Gaya to call off ongoing strike. In business, Ghana's banks cashed in as profits hit 23 billion Ghana cedis. On the foreign front, Zambia's Hichilema, re-elected president as main rival, goes into hiding.
Thanks for staying with us. For more news, log on to MBN 360 Business. A bulletin was brought to you by Lillian Gogo. My name is El Samuels. Together with the technical team, we shall have a good evening.
MBN, the gospel, news and entertainment.